Hello, beautiful souls. I'm just out here enjoying this beautiful night by myself, jamming to some music, and I just have to get a message out to where Father, the Most High, is wanting me to put some truth out so I could be able to help you guys out, um, when sometimes when you go down the journey to ascending and on a higher path, it can get uncomfortable, but it's for a greater good. And I want to tell you guys a true story about myself that I've been holding on to, but I'm going to release it. This is a story about me. True story. I have struggled in my life where I've come from a bloodline of addiction, where we've had that generational curse of addiction in my bloodline, and everything has always been swept underneath the rug. Nobody ever really talked about anything. Bloodline full of secrets, basically. And of course, everybody, not everybody, but people know that addiction comes from some form of trauma. Trauma in your life to where you just you want to numb yourself out. And basically, I've struggled with an addiction of opiates. I'm sober now. I've been sober for almost over a year, and I did have a lot of trauma in my life to where never really talked about. I just dealt with it on my own. And then I got to a point to where I was numbing myself, and there's times that I tried to get clean off of it. I never went to a rehab, none of that, to get clean. I always would try to do it, cold turkey. And of course, there was time that I got clean, and then sometime I would get a trigger and fall back, and I was basically what you would call a functioning addict. I would call it the secret mom or secret housewife addict, where I basically was getting high, not to get high, was just try to function and take care of my kids and the household. Didn't want to be sick. I never ran the streets or I disappeared, or was out there prostituting on the street. Nothing like that. I was just the hidden in the house, hidden in a relationship addict. I would just be hidden. I've always been hiding or hidden somewhere. And I used to always tell myself, the day I quit is the day that I tell my children, because I kept it hidden from everybody. And of course, through the years, my children really knew, but it was never talked about. Everything was swept under the rug, and that was the thing I always said. The day that I tell my children is the day I'll never touch it again. So as I was going through my spiritual awakening, to be honest, my spiritual awakening, the Dark Night of Soul, really started after I lost my father back in 2018, and I had to grieve on my own. That's when my world started really falling apart. I noticed, people started changing on me. I was the black sheep. I was, left out of everything. I just could not understand why, you know, when you have to grieve alone, man, like, losing my dad was a really hard battle. And I had a lot of daddy issues as growing up, but it really triggered something losing my dad. And I basically had nobody after my dad. I was alone. I was in a toxic relationship. You know, I was being spiritually attacked. I was such at a low, but as I was so low, you know, that was when I was starting to question, like, my purpose. Like, what is my purpose? But anyway, I fought through that to go past through that. And as 2 years before my sobriety started was really when it kicked in, where I was, you know, thinking I didn't want to live the lie anymore. I basically went into extreme hermit mode. And of course, that's what the enemy wanted. Basically, I've been hidden my whole life, but that's how God had it. I went into extreme hermit mode, and I stopped being around so many people. I stopped people pleasing and started focusing on myself. And I really started to dig into me, to like, why was I getting high, and how that I got tired of being numb, that I wanted to start feeling things, you know. And I asked God to always send me some way of help. And I skipped over this part. Of course, He did send me help. It was like, once I became a grandmother, that's when things really changed. That was a way of God sending me help, because once I started being a grandmother, and I tell you what, it changed my whole life around, to where I got to see life in a different way, and I wanted to be here. I wanted to live and you know, be a good mom and be a good grandmother, and I never wanted to overdose, you know, thinking that I wouldn't be around to see my granddaughter anymore, because she was so precious to me. And I can't tell you how much, really, you know, it makes me emotional, because how much I love her, and how much she, you know, of course God saved me, but God sent her to me, and it really made me want to live. And so I decided that I was going to tell my children, and I was going to get off of it. But this is the true story I'm going to tell you about. All of this is true, but the night that I told my children, I'll never forget it. There was I was scared, first of all, about telling my children that they wasn't going to have nothing to do with me. Like, my mind told myself, that was the devil telling me, if you tell your children, they're going to not want anything to do with you. They're going to, you know, just all these horrible things I was thinking of. And that night, when I had the courage to tell my children, there was a force, I felt it, that was trying to shut me up, but it wouldn't let me get it out. I can't explain it. It was like my mouth wouldn't move in the right, like I couldn't, what I was thinking in my head wasn't coming right from my mouth. But I was able to get it out, basically. And what's so crazy is, when that happened, and this is no joke, you can call judgment on me if you want to, if you don't believe me. Once I told my children, there was, like, in my crown, an opening. Like, I felt something literally, like it was like there was a tab on my head, that it was open, and something was pulled out. Like, something came out of me, like something was relieved, like a lighterness. Of course, you're going to feel lighter getting that big secret out, but it was like something left out of me that was really toxic. And I got really emotional about it. I'll never forget it. But at the time, I didn't realize that I broke a huge generational curse by being honest with my children, and being open with them. And of course, things did not go as they seem, as I thought in my head, my children was very loving arms and was proud of me. I got off cold turkey, and let me tell you, it wasn't easy. My daughter took very good care of me. She had to hear her mom, and they're puking her guts out, so sick. But I tell you what, it gave me that power of willpower. It like ignited it. You know what I'm saying? Like, since I broke that curse, it gave me that power of willpower that was just like extra strength, because so many times I try to quit, but I didn't do it, in the past for myself. It wasn't really for myself. This time it was for myself. I was tired of living the lies. I didn't want to do it anymore. But I'm telling you, since I broke that generational curse, there was like, I got a gift from God of this magical empowerment. I could feel that I wasn't alone in the room, not talking about my children, but there was something spiritual there, that God was in the room with me, Jesus was in the room with me. And then after I got done having the conversation with my children, I could feel the applauding from the angels, and my family was there, and they were so proud of me, because it was really hard to tell them, like really hard. And I did it. And I was so proud of myself that I didn't have to go try to beat this addiction cold turkey without letting anybody know, because I never went to rehab, because even though I know people may say it's an excuse for not getting help, but in my mind I didn't want to go to rehab because I didn't want to leave my children behind. But I know it's an excuse. The excuse then, yes, but I always was thinking about everybody else. But I got to the point in my life where I was like, everybody's okay, but what about me? So I knew that I couldn't be good to really anybody unless I cleaned myself up. And I'm telling you, that night I broke that curse, from being honest with my children, because I know in my bloodline that I wish that people from my bloodline would have been, I'm not even going to talk about that. I'll leave that alone. But I'm really grateful that I'm telling you that if I would have known how easy it was, and how God blessed me with the team to help me, to be able to, I did it cold turkey. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you should do this. I'm just telling you my story. I was able to get clean, cold turkey, by telling the people that I love who supported me. I had to cut out everybody around me who, you have to cut out everybody around you who's still involved, and you're not going to stay clean. But it gave me the willpower to do it, not to give up. I kept going. I used to be a people pleaser, and I stopped putting up with people's negativity, people putting me down, people harvesting off my energy, to where, I used to get invited to places and people would ignore me. And I never understood that back then, but they were harvesting off my energy by doing that. Like, I always grew up as the black sheep of the family, and that's okay. God, He put me through these trials so I could be strong for what's to come, because it's not going to be comfortable when you walk in God's path. I'm not saying I'm holier than thou now. Now I'm still working on myself. I'm still trying to repent of my sins, but I'm just telling my story of addiction, about what happened that night. It was like, once I broke that curse, it was like I had the willpower to do so much more. I really went into hermit mode. I really thought about all the things, the trauma that I had, from a sexual abuse to, having daddy issues, to why I had that, and really talking to God about those things, and forgiving them, and letting it go, and just releasing it, saying, depression, you can't live here. I didn't want to live a lie anymore, because when God heals you, you don't want to live a lie. You want to walk in truth. Like, there's nothing that anybody could hold, and that's confirmation. There's nothing that anybody can hold over your head. Like, you could have somebody be like, well, I got this video of you doing this, and you don't care, because that's not you anymore. It's not. So it's like an empowerment when you walk in truth, you know. I learned a lot about myself. I learned how strong I was, like my willpower. And then on top of it, you know, from being under that illusion with drugs, you know, I got more gifts. You know, I was able to receive the downloads and really get close with spirit. And it just really opened my third eye that, you know, please get off the drugs, you know. And I pray that you either have somebody who truly cares with you to, like I did. I had my daughter there to help me when I was going through it, to get off of it. You know, that you have somebody love and support to get you through it, you know, because I'm really grateful, and now I get to watch my grandchildren grow, and you know, I'm truly happy, and I'm happy about myself. I know I'm a good person, you know. I had to love myself. You know, like I stopped being in these toxic relationships, you know, because I didn't really love myself in the past. You know, I was always trying to fix that person, but never fix myself. And God said, you got to stop doing that. That when you do that, love yourself, you know, and you love me, I'll send you someone then, you know. So I know my soulmate is still out there. And I know my soul tribe will be coming in the 3D more. You know, we'll be connecting more, but we're out there, and I send you love and light, and I just wanted my story in some form of way to really help you, because, you know, just because you were a black sheep, you know, you were a black sheep for a reason. You know, you were outcasted for a reason, you know. You were a people pleaser for a reason, but God wanted you to finally start taking care of yourself. And He is going to bless you. And just so you can see how life really is beautiful, even when you don't have much. You know, I don't have anything, but I tell you what, I'm happy and I'm grateful for what I do got. I'm alive. I'm clean. I love being a grandmother. I have better relationships with my daughters. I'm open, honest, you know, I walk in truth. And I remember, you know, it was crazy before I was able to tell my daughters, you know, my addiction, come clean about it. I remember before it happened, I kept seeing that commercial of The Chosen where Jesus comes to the guy at the water fountain saying, do you want to be healed? And then the guy says, you know, something. And then when Jesus looks at him and He says, I know that you've been struggling for a long time, but the way that He said it, you know, God knows how long you've been struggling. Jesus knows. And I just want you to know that how good He is, and how He will help you if you come to Him and be honest. You know, He will heal you from it. I'm a walking testimony, you know. I've been through a lot in my life, and I've had to go through a lot of things alone, but now I'm truly happy for myself, and I know I'm not at where I want to be, but I'm on my way there, and I'm on the right path, and I'm a good person, and I pray, and I'm so glad to be alive. And I just, to people out there struggling with addiction, that I really pray that you get clean, you know, come to Jesus and tell Him you want to be healed, and open your heart. I really do, because I see people struggle with addiction, and I'm telling you, it gets better. It really does get better. You know, like maybe you're going to be the one in your family to break that generational curse of addiction. You know, you be honest about it. And I'm telling you, you are a beautiful person, no matter what anybody says about you, anybody puts down about you, that you are a beautiful person. I want you to know that you are. So don't let anybody tell you any different. And I pray for you that you are released from the spirit of addiction. And I just wanted to put a little truth out there. It's hard, it's uncomfortable. I've been hesitating to do it, but God has been pushing me because apparently this needs to go to somebody. And no matter how they block it, it's going to get to them because God said this message is going to somebody. Somebody specific, and that it's going to help. And whoever you are, I pray. My heart goes out for you. It really does. And I'm sending you love, light, and healing. And that's all I wanted to say is thank you, Lord, that I'm alive. And I pray for you. I pray for you to be blessed. I pray for you to be healed. Sending you love and light. And the light just came on across the street, so I'm about to head on out. And 333, baby, all day long. Good night, or good morning.